Hi, welcome to episode 1 of Land Dancing. And in this episode, what I'm doing here is I'm preparing this year's garden beds, and I'm doing it by sifting out all the rocks that are a 1/4 inch or larger. I'm using my gold pan classifier to do that. I'm also taking out all the roots and stuff, and I'm composting those separately to come back in the garden later. This is an experiment. Last year I did this, and I didn't remove the roots and all that stuff. What I did was I laid them down as a bed of compost, and then put the dirt on top of it and went from there. This year I'm going one step further, actually a couple steps further. I'm taking out the plant material, and I'm adding a layer of cardboard down underneath my beds, and we're gonna see what that's gonna entail. Now, this is way more work than I would ever expect anyone else in the world to do. However, I'm a 1%er. I believe in the 1% rule, and what that means is, there's 7 billion people on this planet, so if 1% of those people think even remotely close to the way that I do, they'll be interested in how this experiment works out. And so, thank you, kiddo. And so that's why I'm doing this. I'm putting this effort in, is because I know out there are a few of you who would be curious on what goes on here. So, and we've got so I'm running 2 buckets. So everything really big I'm using in the garden as far as rocks. So anything about, I don't know, baseball size or larger, I'm going to keep in the garden for a moment, just for some projects. And then anything that is rounded and smooth is going to go in my separate bucket. And we're talking about like thumbnail size or smaller, it's going to go in one bucket, and then everything else goes in the other bucket. The little stuff I'm collecting, I'm going to use for a pathway. I'm going to use the gravel for the pathway leading up to the front of the house. Instead of buying the gravel, I'm just going to move it from the backyard to the front yard. So all that stuff goes in that one barrel there. Thanks, kiddo. Man, I don't know if you guys can hear that airplane, but that's one of the cargo planes from the airport nearby us. And it's just giant, big, old. Well, they're not old; they're brand new, but it's just that radial engine, just those monstrous engines. It just sounds so cool. It makes me think of what it must have sounded like to have a fleet of B-17 bombers flying over your head. I can't imagine what that must have sounded like. 100, 300 bombers just flying, all with those just deep, growling radial engines. That would be really cool. It'd be a really cool thing to see, to hear. Well, I take that back. It'd be a cool thing to see going over. It wouldn't be a cool thing to be on the business end of. It's, some of the accounts I've read about, like the firebombing of Dresden, was just unbelievable. There's just some horrendous stories of these people. The bombs are going off above the bunkers, and so all these people are crowded in the bunkers, and it's creating this massive firestorm. And so the people in the bunkers are like, oh, you can't breathe because the firestorm is sucking all the air out of the bunkers. And so what's the only thing you can do? Well, you flee. You can't breathe, so you're gonna flee. So what do? You flee, and you run out of the bunker, and you run out into the burning of Dresden. And it's so hot that you come out of the bunker and you look across the street, and what do you see? You see people up to their knees in tar, and their ankles just covered in molten tar. The road has melted because it's so hot, and these people are out there You can't go out in the street. You gotta stay on the sidewalk. Buildings are falling down. Hell. Those bombers unleashed hell. Hopefully, we as human beings never have to put each other through that kind of misery again. But based on our track record, I think we're probably going to go down that road at some point. This is our second summer here on the homestead, and the first year we just cut in a garden and broke up all that prairie grass and just planted a cover crop in it. We made two short little rows, worked those, and they did pretty good. And then the second year here, we left those first two beds pretty much alone. We're using one of them, but the other two I've kind of let go fallow, and I'm working on making these two new ones here. So this year we just took the mechanical tiller borrowed from a neighbor, thanks Bob for that, and I tilled it in. So all this has been broken up, so it's pretty soft. So I could come back with that hand tiller. I could get in and really break it up. And
Daddy, the hand tiller's right here.
Yep. So it's really easy to work this stuff. It's not very backbreaking. It's just time consuming. It's glacially fast, but that's okay. I got plenty of time. That's one thing I do have. I was supposed to meet some friends in New Jersey, and we were going to ride our motorcycles across the country and then back up to Alaska. But, you know, life has a way of rearing its head. And this year, right at one point, the water heater crapped out. And so all the money that I had saved for the trip, I just put on that water heater. Put a new water heater in, and hopefully that'll be good for a number of years. So in a way, it was a blessing that we had that extra money that we could put on the water heater. But it's also kind of a bummer because I didn't get to spend time with my buddies riding motorbikes. But that means I still took the time off as I had the vacation scheduled. So the cool thing is I do get to take the next 10 weeks off and muck around here in the yard. And we got some canoe trips planned and a whole bunch of stuff going on. Hey kiddo, we got a full bucket. We got a full bucket.
Look at the side of this boat.
Alright, I got a full bucket, so I want to take you through the whole process here. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way. So what we're going to be doing is we'll be laying down some cardboard, and then I'll start building a little bit more of a row on top of that cardboard. So for all of you that were wondering why I'm bringing home so much cardboard from work, if anyone's watching this video that I work with, this is the reason. Alright, got my good clean dirt, and that's coming down right in the center. that's pretty much it.